live.
We're live.
Apparently.
We live.
Let us know if you can hear us, because I don't know if you can, and I can't see the chat.
Okay, I can see the chat as soon as I log in here.
There we go.
All right.
Yeah, sorry, we were a couple of minutes late because
why not?
because we're out on the street. So here we are. H. Ferry is interested in purchasing a manual lens, which Voigtlander is best for the Z6.
So many choices.
The new 40 is really nice.
So many choices. 40, you got 50 f1 coming out.
Yeah.
I want 28 from them.
Yeah.
Like for me, this is the one I need in my life.
Yes.
The smaller, the better, I think.
So we're out and about in the streets of London. We're actually going to hop over to St. James's. We decided to do a
Get out of the office thing.
Get out of the office thing. It's a bit nippy, but it's okay. It's not as bad as previous days. And as you can see, Con is sporting his D4, also known as the D2XS.
Yeah, I just want them to think that I have a more expensive camera. So, you know.
Apparently we're sounding good in California.
That's good. That's good. The sound travels fast.
It does.
Yeah.
It transfers all the way over there. We decided to do something a little bit different. We thought we'd do vintage digital, which you wouldn't think is a thing, but actually, considering first digital cameras came out like over 20 years ago now.
Yeah, it's been a while, isn't it?
We thought we'd do vintage digital. So
the problem is, when we looked at what vintage cameras we have,
vintage digital cameras.
Yeah, we have a digital camera at this point, but it was sold. So the question is, do they actually sell? They do.
They do.
So the oldest cameras we have is D700 and D2XS, which I rock over here.
So Con's rocking a D2XS. Going to cross the road safely, folks, with the green man.
Right, left and right and left, whichever country you're in.
And I am sporting a D700 with a 24-120, which is my old fave.
That's right. I think it's an old fave of a lot of people.
I think so. It was like my classic kind of walk around, go to events and stuff camera. Jürgen still has a D1.
Good for you.
We actually have a D1 in the shop, but
we
we're not
have a
allowed
brand
to
new
use it.
D1.
Yeah.
We have a brand new D1. So it's going to be a collected piece. Give it another 50 years.
We're not allowed to use it.
Exactly.
It's.
Yeah, I have to fit it in. Sorry, do you want me to hold it?
Only
is that
if
what it
you
is?
want. No.
Nah, who does that? Okay, let me try.
You're a little bit better at including both of us in the frame.
Okay.
When my arm isn't long enough.
Okay. Let me just see. Okay.
Does that work?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah?
I think so.
Best greetings
from
Germany. Hello, Lars.
That's right. Hi, Lars.
Hi.
So, Becky, can you teach us how to pronounce the word Voigtlander? In an authentic German way, please.
Voigtlander.
Voigtlander.
It's not Voigt. There's no I.
No, it's a Voigtlander.
It's Voigt.
Exactly.
It's Voigtlander.
Exactly.
You know that we know that. So whenever someone coaches us on how to pronounce it, we actually already know.
Exactly. But some people say Nikon, and like my eyes start to twitch when people say Nikon. I'm still okay with it.
You say exactly. You have survived.
Exactly.
Many years of people mispronouncing Nikon.
Exactly.
So I think we're okay.
Yeah. Some little cells always die when I hear with Nikon, but I still have enough of them.
You got enough of them to go around.
Exactly.
I was going to say Coffee Fund is open, so if you feel like contributing, you are very, very welcome to. The thing about the word Voigtlander. Voigtlander.
Okay. Yeah.
Is that because we're in England and because we say it quite a lot, I feel like people won't know what we're talking about.
Okay.
If we say it as Voigtlander instead of Voigtlander.
Okay.
That's my consideration.
When you say Voigtlander, I feel like you're swearing, honestly. But
you should hear some of the things that you have to say in Welsh that are not swear words.
How do you say Voigtlander in Welsh?
I have no idea. It's a German word.
But it's about 35 letters long.
It is.
Yeah. Okay.
Look at that heron right there.
Ah, okay.
Can you flip? Yeah, you can flip.
Let me see if I can flip them
right
around.
There. So
we found our first victim. No, well, it's a target.
It's someone said it looks a bit grey up in town. It's actually okay. It's a bit hit and miss. Thank you very much to Chris for your contribution to the Coffee Fund. I'm going to take a picture of this heron.
He's the B-roll.
Oh, but I actually need to work out.
All right. Yeah, I think first thing you should do when you get a brand new / second-hand camera, first thing you probably want to do is reset everything to factory defaults. While we in the shop do that,
exactly.
I still check it anyway.
And I'm going to do he's flown away now while I was checking. I was going to say, I just wanted to make sure that the back button was set to AF on because that's how I like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just checking.
Touch screen is off.
Touch screen's off.
Yeah.
For sure.
The 4K video is off as well.
We're in business. We're in business. Have to remember how to use the D700.
So how does this camera feel? Does it feel like driving a tractor?
It's much heavier than my Z6 setup, actually. You know how people like look on paper and they go, oh, the Z6 is not that much lighter than my Z7 or my Z62, than my D850 or my D700 or whatever they're using at the moment. But
the cameras
actually,
you used to have.
The cameras you used to have, but actually this was my setup for like events and weddings and stuff. I use this quite a lot. Sometimes the 24-70 2.8. And I must say, I've walked from the shop to St. James's and I already feel it. So, and you've got a D2X.
Yeah, I don't feel my shoulder or your right hand.
So anyway, I just think I'm going to do a few test shots. I'm going to see, I'm just going to shoot on JPEG. And you know what? I will post the pictures in my stories a bit later. You will? Okay. I think so. Sometimes I did that last time we did an out and about shoot. I put them in my stories. I remembered to. There's a little moorhen over there that I'm going to try and go and take a picture of.
I'm just going to follow you.
You're just going to walk out the frame.
Exactly.
You can also talk to the people.
Well, all I want to say is Becky's sporting the 24-120 f4G lens.
That's right.
The lens I hate with a passion. It's a really good lens, but it's a long-running joke, so I'm just going to keep saying insults at this lens for the rest of the live stream.
He doesn't really hate it.
Well, if you got a Z version, I can tell you that Z version is a huge improvement. And this one is not slouch. It's even got a golden ring, I think. Yes, it does.
It does. It's a nanocrystal coated lens.
Very good.
You have to excuse me because I have to just actually change the way that I play back.
Well, you do that, and I'm just going to thank Adrian, who says you may need a hot coffee after you walk. That's for sure today. Coffee fund is even more important than usual. And thank you, Marvel, as well, for your cup of coffee.
Thank you so much. Really, really appreciated. I forgot how loud the shutter is on this camera.
Well, it's not pentax loud, but it is louder than that, that's for sure.
It's pretty loud. Do we want to walk that way or this way?
Yeah, let's go towards Buckingham Palace. So we're going to walk towards Buckingham Palace.
Buckpal.
Yeah. So, you know,
there we go.
The thing where everyone is hanging out, all the royalty.
Yeah.
This and that.
There we go. I can,
that's good.
I can kind of master it. Look at this black swan.
Yeah, look at him.
What about get a picture of him? Yeah? I can't flip the camera around because I'm wearing gloves.
All the wide angle.
You do the...
I'm scoring 18 to 140.
So Con is sporting the 18 to 140. Hi. He's expecting food.
All right, so I'm just gonna, first of all, up to priority, right? So second of all, set it to RAW, just because image quality at normal is not really good in my opinion.
He's waiting.
Click answer. Have a look at this dude. Hello.
So this is the master at work right here.
Yeah, maybe one of the things about all the cameras, the autofocus, you know that autofocus switch that you have there?
Yeah.
It's so easy to bump to manual.
Yeah.
So you press your phone and it doesn't work. So on new cameras, they have a little button on top of that switch. So you have to press that, and only then you can change the continuous focus, etc. Right. So, you know, and even to manual, you have to kind of push it in. So that's a good thing about those cameras.
Did you get a shot of him?
No, I need to set my ISO as well. Well, I did take a shot, but I'm not going to even check it because I heard my shutter and it was slow.
And it was slow.
All right. So
yeah, I didn't
800 ISO it is.
Okay.
That's as high as you want to go on this camera, really, because
it
really gets really noisy.
You know, I remember a few years ago when I was unironically using a D200. I don't have a D200 today, but I was unironically using a vintage camera. Vintage digital when it wasn't vintage in this very park taking pictures of pelicans.
But you know,
did you get
it's the quality of the screen that makes everything look so mellow.
Yeah.
And obviously the screen is obviously very large.
It's huge. Look at that. Yeah.
It's got even screen protector.
It does. Back in the day when they had screen protectors.
But I mean, jokes aside, the color science of G2XS is fantastic. So again, CCD sensor, as far as I remember, X and S versions are basically more or less similar to each other. So, but I remember I got one of my first jobs. I did it with G2XS. It wasn't mine, it was borrowed from Great Westminster second-hand department.
Wow.
So, and I did some food photography with it.
Actually, those shots are they still on your website?
I'm not sure. They could be there.
But anyway, I remember those.
One thing to look out for, a lot of purple color cast. So when you actually import in your RAW, there's a lot of purple color coming through. So I normally, you know, when you have like in Lightroom, you have white balance, and then you have whatever that line underneath, which goes either green or purple. Tints, that's the word. So I normally like go to minus at least 20 or something.
Yeah. So, wow. These people are going to get their fingers bitten off.
We are filming right now the best failures in 2023 videos. You know,
so we're actually doing like a candid camera.
Yeah.
Like she's seriously trying to hand feed the. Oh yeah, you just want to be bitten? Is that what you want?
I mean, just the whole finger comes off. You know,
like really? Why would you do that? Why would you stick your finger in a swan's mouth? Anyway, are we using DSLR? Moshi, we are using DSLR. So today Con is using a D2XS, although his strap says D4, ignore that. And I am using a D700.
I'm going to do some street photography.
And Con's going to do some street photography. We actually deliberated about what lenses to bring out for quite a long time.
Yeah.
Con was originally going to go, because he's got a bigger camera, you know, like that pro size DSLR right there. He was going to go little 20mm street photography lens.
Yeah, well, give me 30, which is like 28 more or less.
I want to take this shot. I've got a 24.
But
I think I can manage
I
it.
thought if I'm going to keep this camera close to someone's faces, people will think that I'm overcompensating with that big camera. So,
you should put the phone right in my shot.
Is that good? Okay.
It's great. So the reason why I decided, I'm actually going to change my settings here. Yeah. I don't know what this camera is doing. 1 second.
So the cameras came off the shelf.
Yeah, they did.
It's a raw experience.
It's very, very raw experience. It was reset to factory settings, so it's just like, okay, let's see what we're doing here. What ISO are we on? Okay.
You see, we don't watch a YouTube video on how to use those cameras. We just kind of learn from our mistakes.
That's right. Okay, let's go with that. I can't tell much with the screen on the back. No, we didn't have a D4, or if we did, it wasn't old enough.
That's right. This is D2XS, but
D4
I had
strap.
to look for a strap basically, and
we didn't want to unbox all the pristine straps that were in, so we went for like our second-hand strap drawer, of which there are all kinds. I was actually fortunate enough to find a genuine D700 strap in the second-hand strap drawer. It's quite amazing.
Wow, it's probably on eBay now for £100.
I will go put it on eBay right after this.
All right, we've got Seth in the house. He said we're on location
Seth.
today.
Oh, exciting. Yeah, so we're all on location today.
No, it's a green screen. Really. I mean, we love green screen.
You see there's a pink pelican over there.
Oh, yeah. Is it a pelican or is it a swan?
It's a pelican, it's pink.
Okay. But you'd be too far though.
I'm way too far, but I wanted to get the shot. I mean, look at it. It's amazing. You're not going to be able to see it from here.
Yeah.
But there is a pink pelican over there. I have to say, if you come to take... Yes, like a speck in the distance.
Can you see it there? Can you see it there?
We'll walk around.
Yeah, but also giving them this first taste of Buckingham Palace.
That's right. That's Buck Pal right there in the distance.
There's Buck Pal in there, there's Pall Mall in there.
That's right.
You know, so everything.
My non-British friends do make fun of me when I call it Buck Pal. Like I go there just casually every weekend for tea.
Yeah, I
with
mean,
the king.
If you've seen Crown, you know, then you probably know what Buckingham Palace is. You know,
yes.
That's how I learned.
Yes, I'm sure that's how you
and
discovered
from some
what it
anime
was.
as well. You know.
After what were we shooting with yesterday? 70 to 300s.
Oh yeah,
I feel very spoiled for not having a 300mm now.
That's right. We compared the Tamron Z Native 7300 with the F-mount Nikon 7300. And you gotta wait for the results. We're not going to spoil it for you now.
No, but some juicy color correction going on. I mean, it's the back screen is. Look at this little squirrel.
There's a nice squirrel over there, so I'm just gonna. There's some duckies in here.
I bet every viewer all over the world knows exactly the sound of the D700 shot. They know when I've taken a shot because it's like slap. Every time. Not the nice subtle silence or quiet shot of a mirrorless camera.
That's right. What you need to do is basically to go into that crowd of birds over there and fire a shot of D700. And it's gonna all
and then they'll all take off.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's definitely. Is this a Disney stream?
Yes, for you from Disney.
How is the wildlife just chilling? So what's essentially happened is people in this area, so many tourists have come and fed the birds that now animals just come and hang out and get fed by people. Sometimes we see parakeets like landing on people's heads. We've had, I mean, pigeons do as well. Although people are kind of over the pigeon thing, and they usually go for the parakeets because they're a bit more colourful. But the animals are pretty tame in town.
Yeah. And if you wait long enough, we're going to start to sing a song together with the animals as well, and they're going to sing with us.
Yeah, that's right. I'll start singing, and then they'll all flock out. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. Also, someone commented on red squirrels. We don't have red squirrels in mainland UK. Someone's being attacked by a pigeon.
There was a whole thing about red squirrels. They had red squirrels, then someone brought the brown squirrels. And the brown squirrels took over, or grey squirrels, they took over basically. So.
Well, what happened was they ate their food supplies. They're a bit more aggressive, the grey squirrels. So now we
they don't mess about, basically.
They do not mess about.
Okay. Well,
they're like little predators. So the seagulls are really like, oh, that's such a bad idea. Okay. I want to tell people to stop feeding the animals.
Stop feeding the animals. No, that's science. That's science.
I know, but they don't pay attention. They come with their Pret Manger flapjacks, and they're like, here, little wild creature, let me feed you. Anyway.
All right, let's see. Ian, thank you very much, Ian.
Thank you so much for your contribution to Coffee Fund, Ian. What does Dave say? No VR and f6.3.
Well, if you've got a full-frame Z camera, you've got a VR on the sensor.
That's right.
If you don't have a full-frame body, but you've got a DX body,
this guy now I'm going
then
for.
It doesn't have VR. So yeah, keep that in mind.
I'm going to try not to get attacked by the
right,
duck.
Let me just swap the camera over. All right.
Hopefully nothing's front or back focusing.
So I got herring in there. Some pigeons.
There's a squirrel.
Some squirrels.
Maybe these are they black swans? There's more than one.
Probably.
There's a new. Okay, I'm just going to show you for sheer. Do you see this guy? Hi, I have no food for you. Yeah, none at all. Because I didn't bring food. He's like, I'm not interested. Okay. Here comes another.
You got food for him?
Nope, sorry. He's going to climb on me now.
He's going to climb
I still have nothing. That's how tame they are.
And now we have pigeons.
If anyone wanted a Snow White moment, there it is. That's how tame they are. It's crazy. And we intentionally don't bring food. Anyway, Michael said out of the old professional Nikon D cameras, which one do you guys like best in terms of image quality? I had a D4S.
Yes.
No, I had a D4. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I had a D4, and I liked it actually.
I'm gonna walk very slowly because
Anyway, so
yeah,
what do you think?
Yeah, let's go over that. So D4S, right? So I don't know. D700 for me was the reason why I went full frame and never looked back really. So I had the D300 at the time. Had the trip to China. And Nikon UK gave us a D700 on loan, and I took it with me. So I climbed all the Great Walls and all the sites of Shanghai and Hong Kong, and then after I came back, I basically sold my D300 and I bought D700 straight away. So that was my decision. D3, D4 were always a bit big for me, so I like those cameras, but overall, I kind of D700, D800 person, so I prefer slightly smaller body.
Yeah, and even though you prefer a bigger camera than a Z6 or Z7.
Yes, exactly. So I still need some meat to grab on.
I'm sorry, I was just trying to move the camera here. D700 was my camera for a long time. If you can perch yourself somewhere, then I can fit us both.
Yeah, sure, I can I don't want to put,
Don't put your feet on it.
What?
Just sit down. It's fine.
It looks very comfortable. Yeah.
Very comfortable. I look like a giant.
Yeah.
So I had a D700 for a long time. Before that, it was D300, D200. So D700 for me was kind of like my ultimate my ultimate professional DSLR for a long time. And then I went D600. Then I went D750. We've got a friend who's come to check out what we're doing.
Yeah.
D700 as
my pockets.
As a little artful dodger behind us. Seth said the D700 was ridiculously popular.
The thing is, like when we always say there was D3 and D700.
Yeah.
D700 was a mini D3, and that's what a lot of people think Z8 is going to be to Z9. And obviously, if that's the case, Z8 is going to be very popular. It's going to sell like hotcakes, and Z9 will just sit on shelves. So, but the reason, in a way, I think the reason why D700 was so popular because, first of all, it was size and weight, the specs that came from D3, and also a very attractive price. I think it was about 2K when it first came out.
Yeah, or maybe just under.
Yeah, I think it was like 1799, and it was very aggressive pricing from Nikon. It was the camera that a lot of people craved. So but people who used f6s, f100, that was probably the first camera for them that they switched from, because obviously D700 was full frame.
Yeah.
It was built very well. And the image quality was fantastic at the time.
I'm going to put you guys down
12
here.
megapixels, very good low light performance.
And
all
tilt.
the focusing points you want. So, D3 was slightly faster focusing speed-wise, but you still get all the 51 points, etc. So, in a way, if Nikon goes with that 8 in a similar way that D700, they'll have a win on their hands.
Yeah.
If they decide to go more with the 800 series cameras, so slightly higher res, they also will have a win on their hands. But what that tells me is we really need to have two cameras.
I think so. And I look at the D700 as one of those cameras. The D850's kind of become that way now, but it used to be that the D850 would be viewed as only really a pro camera. Yeah. If it had come out a few years before, it'd be only a pro camera.
My T750. Like D780 was a pro camera, but it came too late.
Yeah.
But D750 for me was not a pro camera. It was a semi-pro just based on build.
Yeah.
And this little kind of a wheel on top wasn't pro, and overall the feel of it was not pro. So it was still a very popular camera.
Yeah, and the D700 was that, as someone mentioned earlier, sorry, the comments disappeared quite quickly, but as someone said earlier, yes. The D700 flooded the market with cameras. So there's a lot of them around, and a lot of people finally sort of decided to upgrade to full frame as a result of the D700, whereas before that maybe they would have been on the fence a little bit more about it. They wouldn't have gone for a D3, for example, because it was just too big.
Yeah, but D3 was about 3.5. So I mean, in those days, money was a lot.
Yeah.
But also I think, a lot of people, like a lot of film photographers, kind of waited out for the full frame sensors to arrive. And again, Nikon was not the first to the party of full frame sensors. So,
touchscreen gloves don't work.
I think Canon had already full frame sensor at the time. I'm not sure if some other brands as well, but Nikon came late to the party with a D3, but it was a groundbreaking. Again, like Z9, it was like, in terms of sensor, and low light performance, it was amazing camera. And obviously, once you add on top of the autofocus system, which was really fast at the time, they had a win on their hands. And pros got that, and then for everyone else, D700 was dancing.
That's right, exactly that. Jim, thank you very much for the bird food money. Jeremy, thank you very much for the coffee fund contribution. So Champagne Sumo asked what our favorite Nikon camera is. I mean, if you're talking of all time, that's so difficult.
Yeah, I would say digital D850.
Yeah, I would probably say so too. However, I will say that my favorite camera has depended on what my photography has been at any particular time. At the time I got the D850, I absolutely loved it. I shot a couple of weddings with it, lots of events with it. It was, hands down, one of my most used cameras of all the cameras that I've had after the D700. But I'll always have a place in my heart for the DF.
Yeah.
I really, and that I didn't do any pro work with at all, but I enjoyed it as a personal experience. So I would say that. But it is DSLR. The mirrorless cameras, I love them, but I would not call them my favorite cameras at this point until they bring out a ZF.
Shots fired. But I agree with Becky on this.
Yeah.
Like, they're good cameras, but we still have a lot to cover, in my opinion.
Yeah, and Champagne Sumo, I'm talking digital here, because if we talk about film cameras, that's a whole different conversation.
Oh yeah, there's FM3A, F3, those are beautiful. F2s are beautiful. I mean, F100 was my first Nikon, and it is, like, just on that level, is kind of one of my favorite cameras.
Yes. Tom says, are you guys on a smartphone or iPhone gimbal? We are on a DJI
little gimbal.
Osmo. Little one. Version, which one's this one? The 2?
This one is 2 or 3.
2 or 3.
Yeah.
This is the one that we take out when we have to take our phone out. When we shoot our videos out in the field on our Z6, we have a much bigger gimbal, but we can't do stuff like that in central London, as we've learned the hard way.
But coming back to favorite cameras, you're right. Your favorite camera will depend on your like story as a photographer, your development, your journey as a photographer. So, you know, like a lot of people go through this logical way. Like, I mean, we started with film cameras and went to digital and, you know, off you go. You know, so we had a bit of experience with equipment before.
Yeah.
For someone who is just starting out, your Z is probably going to be your favorite camera. Your first camera that you're going to buy is going to be your favorite camera. It could be Z30, it could be G3500 or something like this.
Yeah.
So those things are not based on specs and performance, but more based on your personal kind of, you know, very sentimental way of, you know, approaching the cameras and where you've been at the time with your life and your photography and maybe your profession as well.
Yeah. Exactly that. John said, as someone who doesn't like heavy cameras, I'm fine that the Z9 is so well balanced. Andy said wanted to stay with DSLR with the 10-pin connector. The Z9 also has a 10-pin connector, so I imagine that will be the case going forward with other.
They'd better have
Pro
10-pin connector.
Yes, we hope so, because there's accessories that use it that we need. So I'm sincerely hoping that whatever Pro cameras come out in the Z lineup, they'll have it.
Realistically speaking, at the same time, it's pretty old connector, so I guess they can't get away from it. But since they have it on Z9, I'm pretty sure it will go down on like to Z8 as well.
Yeah,
it should really.
I should think so. He expects you to have some food. You don't have to be mean. Like, go away.
I don't know what to do with them.
Hi, you're a squirrel. Yes, we don't have food.
I don't know if I can touch them.
No, you can't touch them.
That's what I'm saying.
Can't touch them, but he's not going to do anything to you. Anyway, Z7 II does not have the 10-pin connector, sadly. Just the Z9 at this point, Andy.
Yeah, it hasn't got even MCDC2, right? So it's ML L7 connector, right? So
yeah, Bluetooth basically.
Bluetooth, yeah.
And then there's a little sort of that remote. Nikon just call it remote terminal connector, which is like the slightly rectangular shaped one. That's for the Z6 and Z7. Harvinder asks if we've seen any used Z9s come through. Yes, we have one, or we had one. We might have sold it, but one came through.
Is it the first Z9 they had second hand?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it might be still here, it might be sold already, but yeah.
Yeah. Uwe said, hi, I've had a lot of fun with my D2X. Well, I'm hoping that you're going to get some decent shots out of the D2XS today, if you actually take any photos.
I did.
You took one?
I did some street photography.
You did some street photography,
of those crazy ladies feeding the birds.
Did you set it to black and white, though?
I don't do black and white.
Oh, you don't?
I do black and white, but I think black and white should be shot on film.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Not on digital.
I'm going to just say those things so people can just fire back at me.
Yeah, you should. You should.
It should be printed, hand-printed in a dark room.
Ed said, let's see more of that gorgeous D700. That's the one. Is that the only one that we've got in second hand?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very nice. It's actually quite low usage. Hopefully I'm going to have to do a new actuation count on it when I get back. But it's under 3,000 shots, which is very low usage for something like this. And oh my goodness, when I pick it up like that, I'm so used to carrying the Z6 around now. I'm so spoiled. I'm like, wow, I used to carry this. There was one shoot I did at St. James Piccadilly. It was a classical concert, and I had the D700 and I had a D4. Mm-hmm. And a 7200 2.8 and a 2470 on this one, 7200 on the D4. And I carried that through central London on my back. That's a lot of weight.
I used to have a battery pack for all my D800 cameras.
Yeah, why?
I would always use them in the studio. I'm telling you, when you shoot in the studio vertically, portrait mode all the time, whole day like this, you're gonna feel your wrist. So this is very helpful. But if I would shoot outside, I would always remove that. So that's why I like removable grip. I know it's not ideal for all situations, but for me personally, I'd rather have those options than just have it built in.
Yeah. Whereas I understand if you're in a studio. When I'm out and about, the thought of putting a grip on
if you're doing just basic portrait, just literally from day in, day out, like that helps.
But when we had the Z9, I kept forgetting that it has the vertical grip, and I kept doing that.
Let me explain the situation, So you've got 6 models, and you need to have about 3 or 4 wardrobe changes. Yeah. And all the shoots need to be, so it's an 8-hour day. Yeah. So you get one model coming in while the other one is dressing up, doing the makeup. You shoot her, then another coming in, and and
it's quick rotation.
It's basically, so for stuff like this, your hand is like this all the time. Yeah. You're going to feel it at the end.
For sure.
And then let's not talk about retouching of those images as well.
Some people some people, when they do that, they have someone else doing the retouching. So you'll have a team that does the retouching. You'll have the photographers in the studio.
Yeah, but when you're a young photographer and you need to get an experience and you need to get the contacts and networking and things like this, you know,
you're a one-man band.
You're a one-man band, and you pay yourself for your time.
Uwe asks, what do you think about the colors of the D700 images? It's been a few years. I was wondering what that noise was. It's a squirrel. It's not something else scary. It's not a monster.
Okay. Not a boogeyman.
I was thinking it might be a rat or something. I'm not so keen on the rustling sounds of rats. So I haven't looked at them recently, but from memory, the D700 colors are lovely, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to shoot with the D700. If we'd had a D200, I would have picked that, just because it's been a while.
Yeah,
you know.
there is a good thing about CCD sensors. It's one of those things that people still have love for them, I would say. Not as great dynamic range, but very good color reproduction. There's an interesting article I've read about global shutter sensors from Tom Hogan, and he says the reason why we're not going to see global shutter this year is because those sensors generally have a more limited dynamic range compared to the CMOS sensors that we have in those cameras.
Yeah.
But the more they develop, we're going to surpass CMOS sensors, and we're going to get global shutter sensors that will outperform CMOS sensors. And that was exactly the same story with CCD versus CMOS. It took some time for CMOS sensors to develop to basically surpass the CCDs in terms of dynamic range and image quality. So very interesting article. I'd recommend you to look at that. So while Becky's taking pictures, I'm going to read some comments.
Sorry, you're DJing while I'm here. Yeah. There was some activity. Thank you very much, Jerome, for your contribution to the Coffee Fund. Very, very kind. Jan rightly pointed out, I have a Pentax 6.7. How can the D700 be heavy?
And also loud. I think Pentax 6.7 is probably has the loudest shutter of them all.
It does, but having shot with mirrorless all day yesterday and much lighter cameras, then to switch to this was heavy. But you're quite right, yeah. The Pentax is the heaviest thing ever. When I go out with that, it's really got to be just that and nothing else. Yeah. There was one day where we went out and I was like, yeah, I'll just throw the Pentax in just in case. I really felt it at the end of the day. Someone asked, Harvinder said, have you convinced Gray to send you both to Japan for CP Plus next month? That'd be cool, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
No, is the answer, but it would be cool.
I'm going to text him now.
Yeah, let's see what he says. Terry,
show a fundraiser.
Yeah, we should. Yeah, crowdfund our trip to CP Plus. Terry says, I was just given a pristine like new F2 with 3 like new lenses yesterday.
Nice.
That is wonderful. Andy said the D200 could use more dynamic range and low light range. For sure, that was where it, 400 ISO was the max. You'd want to shoot above that.
800, you already start to see noise, yeah, for sure. And again, with those things, you start to overexpose.
Yeah.
You're overexposed. There's like literally no details and highlights, so you really have to be careful. The same, I actually shot with a Pentax 645D I had at some point. It was the first medium, one of the first medium formats from Pentax. And I had 22 megapixel sensor. And again, you literally have a very narrow window of get your exposure right.
Yeah.
Because if you just slightly overexpose, effectively your skin tones are blown out completely.
Gosh.
So you have to be really, really careful.
Yeah.
And I guess if you shoot in the studio, it's not a problem because your exposure is basically will stay more or less the same.
Yeah.
But on location, it can become problematic.
So sorry, someone's answering comments from earlier, but hopefully everyone's caught up anyway. Ed said I had to carry a full kit of 2 Pentax 6.7 and lenses in 40 degrees Celsius years ago. Wow, that's heavy duty. There is a user who, unfortunately, I don't know your handle, like I can't pronounce your handle, but it said, nice to meet you from Japan. I use Z9. Well, thank you very much for being here, participating in our little live stream today. Someone asked what our favorite DSLR was, Roger, and I think just for the nostalgia, I'm going to say D200 for me. But
yeah, I think that's.
But I had a few.
That's pretty much it.
I had quite a few DSLRs for a while. I like my Z50. I love the ZFC, but like for DSLR, there's something very nostalgic about the D200.
Right. D200 was my first Nikon digital camera that I've tried.
I think that's why.
Yeah. And I never liked D300 colors.
No.
I never liked them. And then once I switched to full frame, that was it basically.
Yeah. Seth said try working a Pentax 6.7 with a Polaroid back.
Nice.
I'd like to try that though. I really would.
But if it takes those, FP100 type of, instant film, then you probably won't be able to find those anymore.
No, it would be really, really expensive.
But they do now. They do those new Polaroid backs for like large format cameras. Like there's a Lomo Graph or something like this that is available, and it uses Fuji Instax.
Is that? Oh, it uses Fuji Instax.
Graph Lock, I think they call it. So I hope they're going to release those for RB. I know there are some for RB67, but they're very expensive. I'm sure they like for Pentax they'll have one, but I think they'll become cheaper and cheaper, hopefully.
There is, and I don't know what it is, but I see it sometimes on the talking to the mic. It's because his mic is all the way down there. That's why you need to like stick it up in your.
Yeah.
In your
my mouth.
Snood.
Okay.
just hold it next to your mouth all the time. Thank you, Treasure Maze. Thank you very much for your kind comments. Glad you love the show. So there is, what is it? Vintage Cameras or one of these Instagram accounts that sometimes post. What are the ones where it's a single shot and then you pull it out and it instantly exposes it?
Yeah, that's FP100 Fujifilm.
But is that Instax film?
Well, it's not Instax, no.
No,
it's
exactly.
instant film,
Yeah.
which means that it's got chemicals inside.
Yeah.
But they stopped making those years ago.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Oh. Sometimes I see these clips of someone using it. They're obviously using old stock.
Exposed ones, yeah, highly likely you need to shoot them way like overexposed, so rated for lower ISOs. But
Right.
they used to make really high ISO instant film back in the day.
Wow.
Not anymore. I mean, the highest you go at the moment is Instax film, which is, I think, Instax wide is 800 ISO by default.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Anyway, I love the idea of it. Anyway,
We can always talk film, regardless of what stream it is. It's just the way we roll, isn't it?
yeah, we did say we weren't going to take film cameras out with us today. Israel says, "What do you think about the D800? You had a D800."
Yeah, it's a great camera.
Yeah,
As
I never
long as
used it.
Use it like medium format camera. It is slow. As long as you're happy to use it and know its quirks, like let's say you're going to take 5 shots in a row, the buffer is going to take some time to record to the memory cards.
Yeah.
The autofocus is not the fastest in the world in DSLR, but the files it made were fantastic. I had the E version even, and I spent additional £200 or £300 extra just to get that.
To get the E.
It was worth it for me. I mean, in real world, probably there's not much difference between the two.
Yeah. Sorry, don't know what's going on over there. I got slightly distracted. There's something going down in St. James's Park. The D800 was one of those cameras that you really had to rethink how you took pictures, right? Because you couldn't just sort of happy snap with it. Are you trying to strangle me?
Oh, you had, okay, sorry. If you had one of those, that's what that was the common thing.
Yeah.
Guys were switching from D700, we buy D800. Come in the next week and say, my images are not shot. Oh, why I get motion blur all the time?
Yes.
Well, let's have a look at your EXIF data. Okay, you're shooting 40s of a second.
Yeah.
Here's the reason, But obviously as well, mirror box was huge, the slab was big, a lot of internal vibration, but also all that 36 megapixels, 36,
Yep.
sensor will show all the imperfections of the old lenses, and also all that motion blur that you couldn't see on 12 megapixels. Hello.
It's not dead.
Can you hear us?
It's dead.
It's dead. Is it walking dead?
It looks like we're back because we're watching it.
Okay,
Cool.
That's good. So backlit subject, some metallic object like cars backlit, you get so much purple fringe in it, you won't be able to get rid of them in Lightroom. It was so severe. So I had to really test all the D lenses I had and then update them to G lenses just to avoid that.
There's a pigeon flew into the cell tower. There's a lot of low-flying pigeons around here.
Anyone want some fried pigeon?
Someone said, what's the dish involving pigeon? It's pigeon pie. Anyway, yeah, don't quite know what happened here. Alex said, I regret selling mine a few years ago. I think, the D800 was one of those cameras that sort of divided everybody. People realized they either needed that resolution or they didn't. And I was one of those people that went, no, I don't need that resolution. So then when the D750 came out, or D600 originally, I was like, yeah, 24 megapixels I can do. But 36 is way too much for me. And also I was using a lot of manual focus lenses, as I still do.
Just open a massive can of worms because people are going to discuss resolution. How many megapixels is enough?
How many megapixels is too
And I'm going to say something outrageous that we need 100 megapixel cameras, and then just the whole chat is just going to go off the rails. Exactly. So
yeah, as Treasure Maze says, don't need brand new cameras to make good pictures. That is quite right. I'm hoping that I will get some nice shots today that I can share, just so you can see what 12 megapixels. You won't see a difference between necessarily 12 megapixels and 24 megapixels on an Instagram feed.
No, definitely
That's the
not.
thing. It's like you're not going to see that on a little screen.
I think when we come to the point of like discussing what megapixels means for everyone, it really depends if you're a professional photographer or not. And if you're a professional photographer, what do you need images for? If you're a wedding photographer, probably you won't need them. But if you're a commercial studio photographer working with advertising agencies, then you probably will want to get the high megapixel sensor. So there's lots of little things like this. Everyone needs their own solutions.
Yeah.
So no one needs one camera that does it all. And because we're all so different, it's very important to know that we're all different and we need different things.
Yeah, and also sometimes it's like one specific job would need this type of this type of camera, and then the rest of the time you don't need that much resolution. That's what I found with the D850, was when I wasn't doing pro work, for everything else I didn't need the capabilities of the D850. It was good that I had them. And then when lockdown hit and I was using the Z6, after about a year, I realized that I'd used the Z6 more than the D850. That's when I decided to do my change. As Seth said, does a mechanic have just one style of wrench? No. So why should I limit my tools to one?
Exactly.
Who needs just one?
But I had D850 for commercial work.
Yeah.
And I never take it with me on holidays. And I had a smaller camera. I think it was X Pro 1 or X Pro 2 at the time. That would be my holiday camera and my snapping away camera, so that was a smaller resolution. But that's the thing, everyone is so different that we can't just say, oh, we just need to have 24 megapixels on our cameras. It's like when people say, like, coming back to the comments we get sometimes, you don't need f1 lens to improve your photography. Well, you don't need the latest camera to improve your photography. You don't need anything to improve your photography. Like as long as you have some basic camera equipment, you already can take some good shots. So this logic doesn't apply to one particular, let's say, lens or camera, But realistically speaking, I think, like, if you had your photography journey and you already use so many lenses that you have experience, then you can decide to get a very specific exotic lens, not in a way that they're lone lenses as we used to call them nowadays, but you can get a special effect lens for your need. But then you have your, let's say, pro equipment, etc., etc. So everyone is different, and it's always amazing to have choices.
You're coming closer. Little Robin just keeps coming closer and closer. That's why I've taken so many shots.
Just hold your bag, just in case.
Just in case he comes.
Exactly.
You're very sweet, I have to say. I'm going to take a...
Shall we?
Like that. Wait for it. Okay, now you can turn.
Now
and
I clearly turn to a romp,
It's always good.
What I'm meant to do is go this way.
There he's flown down there now.
Okay.
He's down there.
That was a waste.
Too camera shy. Anyway, I will post those pictures later, just for the heck of it, so that you can see them. Someone else, Steve Layton, said, I read an article last week that suggested there was a move towards images with the look of older small size sensors, as well as older, less perfect lenses. Any evidence of this?
No, that's just YouTubers starting their own things. Like all the digital point shoots are coming back into fashion and things like this. I mean, look.
That's not saying that something's going on there, because it's like a whole crowd of tourists have just appeared. But I have to say that we still, when we get them in, we still sell those older bodies.
D200 was sold this morning.
Exactly. So I wouldn't say that that's not true, but I would also say that it's always been the case that some people will want a specific older style camera.
CCD sensor, as we said, or film camera.
Yeah. As Roger said, those cameras must be heavy. You sat and have not moved for quite a while. It's actually because it's so crowded and we're trying to avoid people.
We don't like people.
It's not that. It's just it's really hard to stream and read comments and walk and take pictures.
And not to step on pigeons as well.
Not to step on pigeons and not to, accidentally push over small children. So we've been trying to sort of keep ourselves out of the way. But we will go around.
Public liability insurance.
As Sam said, people. Ew, people.
I know.
Peter said, my first DSLR was a D40X and the last was D850.
Exactly.
I'm all in with Z. And that's real sort of interesting progression.
Yeah.
But yeah, I started with D100, D200, moved up and up and up, and then now we're all Z. But
that's the thing. That's why I'm always talking about your photographic journey, because we all learn differently. Some people buy their Z9 as their first cameras. Well, good for you.
Yeah, it's always amazing.
Yeah. But a lot of people start with a small camera, and it's a gateway drug towards more equipment, let's say, you know. But hopefully they also learn. They not just buy equipment, they also learn photography, and then they buy a tool that greatly expands their repertoire, I would say, you know.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Everyone's journey, you know, on a different level. Someone completed their journey and they got their equipment now. They have their setup that they're gonna, I can say, this is basically my camera till the end of dawn, you know.
Yeah.
So, but some people are gonna upgrade in a year or so. Everyone is different. Everyone has different needs.
That's it, isn't it? Aneka said, I love the CCD vintage look YouTube videos. It's so ridiculous. Some claim that it's almost the same as film. But no, it looks exactly like a photo from a camera from 2004.
Yeah, lots of black mist. They now start to crop the side borders to make a different ratio.
Yeah,
you name it. Yeah,
it's all the little tricks, right?
Well, you know what? I mean, like I laugh when you see videos like this, but you know, whatever floats their boat.
If it gets more people interested in photography, I'm not going to complain.
Well, that's the thing. At the end of the day, as people say, it's a free content that is there.
Yeah.
So you can love it or hate it, it's free. And I think that's very important to understand with YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny because Rad said, I still have a D850. I'll keep it as a memento, just like my old iPod. I switched to Z when Z7 came out. People still buy brand new D850s. We actually sell them. We sell D850s 2 or 3 a week sometimes. So it's
D6 sold recently as well. Yeah.
Yeah. D780 we still sell. So there's definitely no shortage of interest in those older DSLRs. Oh my goodness, when the sun goes away, it gets very cold all of a sudden.
The chill,
I do. Seth said, D850 just got a firmware update. On top of everything else. As Andy and Magnus, thank you to our great supporters, have said, please do give the stream a like. We're at 272 people watching. It's quite a lot when you envisage 272 people.
That's
if there were 272 people here right now.
It always puzzles me how people actually watch us. I'm like, wow, people actually watch us.
What does blathering on about stuff.
Absolutely.
But yeah, when I imagine, it's like when we put out the Nikon report and like 3,000 or 4,000 or 5,000 people watch it, and you think, if I actually sort of envisaged how many people that is, I don't think I'd be able to do this.
I mean, probably about 4,000 is just my mum, but you know.
It's 4,000 of her. She's just that many computers
exactly.
open.
Many computers, many tabs, basically, yeah. So her electricity bill is quite high, I think.
Yeah, it probably
Hopefully she's not on data plan. Hopefully it's unlimited.
I hope so too. Gosh, we're sparking the interest of some duckies now. Shall we walk? Shall we go in that direction?
I just warmed up the bench.
You just warmed up the spot on the bench. There's some people very interested in the pink Pelican over there. Seth said it's just a number. You've got to stay true to what you want to put out there.
That's true.
That's what we do. That's why we talk about film every week.
Stay true to ourselves with all that hate we get in comments.
Yeah, and then Seth says, there's a guy heading to a conference to shoot live for strangers. Yeah. Good on you, Seth. It's good. I think it's fantastic that you're going out to do that. That's brilliant. And just so you know, if you don't watch Seth's channel, you totally should. He takes you on a tour of how he does his shoots and puts them together. It's very, very interesting.
I can tell you, I didn't know how to use C-stand, and I watched Seth's video, and now I know how to use C-stand.
There you go.
You know.
We learn. Every day's a school day.
They don't sell C-stands in the UK. Well, they do now, but they're more expensive than the normal ones.
Of course. Michael said, I've been shooting with my Z7 for a year now, went back to my D810 for a day and realised how good the DSLRs are. So there you go. I am hoping that I'm going to fall back in love with this system all over again. Not the weight of it.
You need a film camera for this light coming through, isn't it?
That's the thing. I often find, I kind of wish I always had a film camera on me as well as a digital camera. Like, not just taking pictures on my phone, but just sometimes you get certain lights and colours that you think that would look way better on film.
The tones.
And then you realise that in your film camera you've got black and white film. And then you're like, darn.
Well, you got a rangefinder, you got a lens cap on.
Yes.
Been there, done that.
We've both been there, done that. I did have a rangefinder with no meter in it, forgot to change the shutter speed after I metered, and you took a shot, forgot to take the lens cap off. Yeah,
quite a few.
Yeah, we've been there.
Thank God the black and white film at least cheap.
That's right.
You know, the color one, it would hurt more.
Yeah. So there's a few people saying like what they started with, like, or Henry said he misses his old D850. Harvinder said, do we have any preference as far as ZEVF or DSLR optical viewfinder? I think both have good and bad points.
I still don't like EVFs from the color point of view. It still looks digital to me.
I am so used to now what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
That it takes me.
That's literally what I want to say. Yeah. So it's like there's pros and cons for those.
There's prawns and cons.
And cons. So
I think that's a new bit. We're going to have prawns. We're going to have a picture of prawn, and we're going to have a con.
We need to write those ideas, because all this merch that needs to be created, all those T-shirts.
Geese are not ostriches.
Geese are not ostriches. Yeah, there's a lot of things. Courses for horses.
Courses for horses.
Yeah, you know, there's a lot of them. Yeah.
The catchphrases, the many catchphrases of Constantine.
You know,
etc.
etc. Absolutely fantastic. What else we have?
We had absolutely for a while, didn't we? We had absolutely. That was.
It's like, how do you end the segment?
Yeah.
It's like absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah. You just cut them all out. Someone's strangling a goose over there.
Yeah.
Jerome says, too many photos taken nowadays. When your parents had a photo album, every single photo was treasured. Nowadays, perusing through thousands makes them less special. Well, I will say, Gray told me a story the other day from when he was working back in, I think it was when he was working at KJP, actually. He worked in a couple of camera shops over the years, and he said there would be, people would bring in their films for developing and processing, and you would go through them, and there would be, on the same roll, it would be, Christmas, summer holiday, a birthday, then Christmas, then another summer holiday, then a birthday. And sometimes on one roll, you'd have like 3 years worth of pictures, because people would not take pictures that often. We are very saturated with images now, but there is a beautiful quote that Joe McNally put in his Real Deal book, which I'm going to paraphrase because obviously I don't have the book in front of me, but it was something along the lines of, photographs are basically the rings on the tree of the passing of time of humanity kind of thing. And I was like, that is actually really cool. It's like every photograph you think of is just shows the passing of time and the passing of history. And if you think about your pictures as being ultimately a piece of history, whether you enjoy them for yourself or whether 100 years from now people are going to be putting, the thing is, we're so well documented now that when our great-great-grandchildren are studying history, there'll be so many images available. But will they be the truth? That's the question.
But yesterday I was sorting out my negatives from like my youth when I was 15, 16.
Oh, those days.
And I was going through those, my first photographs really, with my first camera was Zenith. And it was really weird, just some of the pictures that I didn't really consider to be very good, I look at it from different perspective now. Because the time passed, my values has changed, and obviously I live in a different world now, etc. Yeah. But also the friends, a lot of things. And it was very emotional for me yesterday. I was like, I spent the whole evening doing that, and it was really interesting. And,
it's quite lovely.
Yeah, so you never know. Maybe you're taking millions of shots right now, who knows, 50 years later, you're going to look at them and you're going to be grateful, who knows?
Yeah, there's a couple of shots that I took which are sort of stuck in, I don't know, an old hard drive somewhere that popped up. I think I'd put them on my phone at some point, so my phone now reminds me of memories from whatever date. And sometimes I look at them and I think, God, I took a lot of rubbish pictures. Then there are other times where I go, oh, that's actually a great shot. I did not do too badly, and I was using like a D200 with an 18-200 on it or something at the time.
I think the worst thing about it, like lots of long pictures, is once that 9 came out and everyone put it on the continuous high mode, which is 20 frames per second.
Oh my goodness.
Remember the velodrome shots or the bird shots?
With hundreds and hundreds of pictures.
Yeah, and then we were like, Becky, you go through them this time, or Con, you go through this for this video.
Like, no thank you.
Because it was such a chore to go through like 20 shots of the same flying duck or something,
or the same cyclist.
Exactly.
thank you very much to Uwe for your
Thank you,
contribution to the coffee fund. God, it is a bit chilly. I need to move.
Yeah,
and
let's
also,
move,
we've got about 10 minutes left of the stream. Do you know that? Not even.
In good company, time flies. All right.
We're losing the light a bit here.
We're losing the light. It's only 3 o'clock and we're losing the light.
Yesterday, we definitely had this kind of beautiful... you can't go that way?
Well, no,
you can.
I just
try not to trip over.
I don't see where I walk, really, so...
Yesterday, after we'd kind of finished for the day, we had this beautiful pink sky. It was very, very pretty.
Hello.
Hi.
I'll give you my phone so you can...
Oh yeah, I'll take it. But do we want to go the other way?
Yeah.
That way? Or you want to go towards Buckingham Palace? What are you pointing at? Oh, it's...
I was like, I thought I recognized you. How are you?
Good to see you.
We got a special guest on the show.
Look, okay, for those of you that don't know, this is Nick Harrison, who comments every week. Your phone's about to run out of battery.
That's how he looks. So now you know.
Catching the end of the live stream out, taking pictures. Yeah. We haven't taken that many pictures, but we've been trying. We've been perched on a bench. That was good timing, wasn't it?
So what have you got? You got Z6 with some f-mount lens.
Yes.
300mm.
The live interview here. Were you ready to be interviewed?
That's right. So here you go. Here's some gear.
And a 2470 2.8.
And a fisheye. Not very vintage, but fisheye is vintage, is f-mount. 300 is f-mount.
That's right.
Already considered to be vintage in a way. So you know. Yeah.
Well, they were actually on promotion during the winter savings. They're still, still selling. Still very, very current.
It's a great little lens, that's the thing.
Yeah.
It's so easy to carry around.
Do you do much street photography with it here, or do you do birds?
Yeah, birds.
Birds photography.
More birds and, distant shots.
There you go. Hello to Ride Along Randy, who said I'm early enough to watch the stream, or the end of it at least. We are at 56 minutes. We're basically done.
Yeah. Shall we go and show the Buckingham Palace?
We'll go show Buckingham Palace for the sake of... don't go far.
And we come back to you, yeah.
I'll catch up with you later.
Yes,
Exactly.
yeah. We'll do our parting shot in front of Buckingham Palace, but how fortuitous.
And then we're off to see the King.
And then we're going to go and have...
Tea party.
Tea with the King.
Can you hold that for a second?
Yeah.
I'm just going to fix my mic.
I'm going to try and hold it while holding the phone. I think Harvinder was asking us, but I'm not sure, said, what was your photographic background before Grays? Did you study photography at college?
I did.
Con did. I worked for some small media departments and learned photography on the job. I was actually doing design, but photography got thrown in there as well.
But to be honest with you, I didn't just learn photography at college. Right? There's a reason I went to college to study photography, because I was really just everything I could get about photography when I was 14. And then I was salivating over Nikon cameras, some other cameras, because everything was so expensive.
Yes.
You know.
I shot with little film cameras when I was a kid. I was the one that would always bring a camera to every, school event, and I just always enjoyed taking pictures. But I think that's because my grandparents and parents and everybody always used to take pictures around me.
Well, you pretty much grew up in the shop, right? So
yeah, in the basement. Yeah.
They kept you in the basement.
That's right.
That's just,
I just became part of the furniture now after all these years. What type of tea are we having with the King? Well, I would have a good red bush.
Yeah, red bush is good. Earl Grey is nice.
Earl Grey is nice, yeah, for sure. I'm trying to see the latest comments. My hands are very, very cold.
Yeah, and you're wearing gloves.
I know. I'm wearing actually two pairs of gloves, hand warmers and gloves. And we will go and catch up with Nick afterwards, because it was nice to see him.
No, I thought I saw Nick, and then I was like, yeah, that's definitely him. Okay, it's just a quick look over Buckingham Palace.
There you go, folks. It's real. It is real. And then we'll pop down there. I'm going to try and get a picture as a pink pelican before we go.
Yeah, you do that.
But I'll do that when we're further down.
St. James Park. And now we're back to Becky. She's still here with us.
I'm still here. I haven't gone anywhere. There we are.
Yeah, and if you go way there, then you're going to end up in Hyde Park Corner.
That's right. Next time you're in town, you can come visit Buckingham Palace and then come visit Grays.
Yeah, from here is about 20 minutes walk to
Yeah,
Grays. So
it's not too bad.
yeah, we are next to Victoria Station, not Westminster Station.
Exactly. Anyway, thank you very much, everybody, for joining us this afternoon on our little jaunt.
This chilly afternoon.
This chilly afternoon. Thank you for all your contributions to the coffee fund. It's been very, very generous of you. Thanks for all the likes as well. And we'll be back next week.
Yeah.
We will.
There's a film challenge for the end of the month. Send us some of your film photography.
That's
and
right.
we're going to talk about it at the end of the month.
We will. Next month. We'll talk at the end of
February, yeah.
End of February. Yeah. That's what we're going to do. Okay. Take care all. Have a good weekend.
Bye.